إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. Brothers and sisters in Al-Islam, each and every one of us, we're going to be held accountable for the things that we say. And this is illustrated in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that was reported by both Al-Bukhari and Muslim on the authority of Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, who said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawm al-akhir falyaqul khayra aw liyasmut." The Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever believes in Allah and the last day, then let him speak good or let him remain silent. Meaning, if you have nothing good to say, then say nothing at all. And as it was, as we've mentioned before and many times, was the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when certain things took place in the community, then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would address it from the minbar publicly as a means to deter the entirety of the community to be affected by that thing that had occurred. And so, as we said, and remind myself and I remind all of us, the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that whoever believes in Allah in the last day, then let him speak good or let him remain silent. And it is very sad to me, rather it is something that I consider to be deplorable, that when you hear individuals who claim that they have intellect, claim that they have knowledge, make a statement in reference to the situation of our brothers and sisters in Palestine by saying, well, they brought this on themselves and this is what they deserve. It is an absolutely ignorant statement, and I caution each and every one of us from making these types of statements and these types of claims. Because I will say to each and every one of us, and I'm talking to myself, before I'm talking to all of you, I'm talking to me. Because I'll say to all of us, If our brothers and sisters in Palestine deserve what's happening to them right now, then we deserve the same thing. Because I ask you by Allah, what are they doing? What are they doing that they deserve it? Say, Akhi, they're committing shirk with Allah. Now, I'm not going to say that that's what they're doing, but let's just say for the sake of argument, I'll give you that. Say, okay, what are we doing here? The Muslims aren't committing shirk right here? We're not committing shirk? Oh no? How many people have the eye of Fatima hanging off of their mirror in their cars? How many? How many people that we know, they're swearing by other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How many people right here? Let's not go far. Talking about right here in Central Florida. They worship the dead. How many people say they're committing shirk? Well, shirk's happening right amongst us. So if they deserve it, then we deserve it too. You say, Ya Akhi, they're disobedient to Allah. They're not upholding Allah's religion. They're defying Allah's command left and right. It's okay, well, all right, give me an example. You say, look at them. They don't pray. Say, oh, you think we not pray? You think everybody here's praying? By Allah, I ask you all, of the people who are attending the Friday Jumu'ah, let's not even talk about the rest of the Muslimin. Of the people who are praying the Friday Jumu'ah in the Masjid here in Central Florida, how many of them all week last week prayed 5 times a day, every single day, on time, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed? So if you're saying to me that they deserve what they're getting because they're not praying, I'm saying we deserve it too. So no, it's not just the salah. Look at their women. The women don't wear hijab. Say, okay, I'll give you that. I don't know, I've never been there myself personally, but I'll just give it to you. I know what I saw on TV and what I saw in pictures, so I'll give you that one. But Akhi, all of our women are wearing hijab? I swear by Allah, we see sisters come out of our masjid. Let's not go far away. Our masjid, Masjid Sunnah, who have on hijab right now because they're in the masjid. They step outside, you see them across the street at Publix after Jumu'ah with no abaya, no khimar. You wouldn't even recognize the Islam on them. So again, if I will say to you, if those people deserve what they're getting because their women aren't wearing hijab, then we deserve it too. Ya Akhi, it's not just the salah. It's not just the hijab. Look at their business transactions. Akhi, they're dealing in riba. And riba. Allah has announced war against those who deal in riba. I'm not going to argue with you about that. But I'll ask you. Look around us. We're not dealing in riba? We're not putting stuff on credit cards? Right? We didn't get that Capital One card that came to us in the mail. We didn't open it up and sign up. We're not putting stuff on the credit card at Home Depot, at the Best Buy. We're not down at the Toyota dealership signing off on the riba. We're not doing it. Oh, we want to act like we don't have savings accounts in Chase and in Bank of America. That's not us. So I say to you, if those people deserve what they're getting because they're dealing in riba, then we deserve it too. So look at their leadership. Look at their leaders. They're taking money from the Shia. People who curse Abu Bakr and Umar. How could they? How dare they? What you think's going to happen when you cooperate with people who curse Abu Bakr and Umar? Say, okay, I'll give you that one. I wasn't there in the room when they took the money, but just for the sake of argument, I'll give that to you. And I'll come back and I'll ask you, who from amongst us, a couple years ago, 2020, when the kuffar were handing out money, calling it stimulus checks, who from amongst us was like, nah, we're not taking no money from the kuffar. Keep your money. We're not taking that. Who from amongst us did that? Or were we lining up, checking our bank account every day? When's the stimulus check going to drop? When's the stimulus check going to drop? Who from amongst us? How many from amongst us hasn't gone down to the welfare office and taken food stamps, Medicaid? Where does that money come from? That money comes from the kuffar. And much of that money, just so we know, off the backs of the oppression of other people. So if you're telling me that those people deserve what they're getting because they took some money from Iran or some of the Shia, I'm saying we deserve it too. Do we see ourselves as being better? Or do we see ourselves as being higher? Are we better people than those Palestinians? Are we better? Is that how we see ourselves? So much so that we say, oh, they deserve that. That's what they get. It is absolutely disgusting and ignorant for someone who claims to believe in Allah and to believe in his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say that a Muslim deserves to be oppressed by the non-Muslim. And I remind myself, and I remind us all, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that he who believes in Allah in the last day, let him speak good or let him be quiet. Then someone's going to say, akhi, you're not talking about us, because us, none of that stuff is happening to us. We're not committing shirk. We are praying on time. Our women are covered. We're not dealing in riba. We're not taking money from the kuffar. We're not taking money from Ahlul Bid'ah. We stand on what we stand on. Say, okay, I give you that, because I'm not watching what you do. I don't know. That may be true. But how many evils, how much oppression, how much shirk, how much disobedience, innovation takes place around us, and we stay quiet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran, وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. And fear the punishment, fear the trial that is not only going to affect those who are oppressive from amongst you. Meaning, when the people stop commanding the good and forbidding the evil, and Allah sends his punishment to destroy that punishment is not going to be discriminatory. Meaning, it's only going to destroy the disobedient. He's going to destroy this house leave that house, destroy this house, leave that house. Everybody's going to go. When the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it rains down on a place, it will rain down and it will affect everyone. Which is why Allah said, fear the punishment that's not only going to affect those who are oppressive from amongst us, those who are oppressive from amongst you. So, you might say, oh, I'm good, because I don't do that. I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this. But this stuff is happening around us all the time, every single day, and we walk by it as though it doesn't exist. So if those people are to blame, and they deserve what they're getting because of what their hands has put forth, and all of these other things that I have heard have been said, I'm saying that we deserve it too. Because our situation, yes, is different, but we're no better. We have no space to point fingers and say, we're better than you. We're higher than you. We practice our religion in a higher fashion than you. We're in no place and in no position to make these types of claims. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده ما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Al-Islam, I warn myself and I warn all of us, we need to take heed. Because if what's happening to our brothers and sisters is truly because of what they have done, then we need to take this as an admonition. Because let no one think that what's happening over there could never happen to us here. You think that because we live in the United States, oh, this is the land of the free, home of the brave, democracy, and all those other things that they sell us on. Let's wind the clocks back just a little bit. Let's go back to the year 1942. Right after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. And President Roosevelt, he issued Executive Directive number 9066. And they snatched up out of California over 100,000 Japanese. 70,000 of those 100,000 or over 100,000 were American citizens. 70,000 of the over 100,000 people, the Japanese that they snatched up, were actually American citizens. And they put them in a place called relocation centers. Where actually they were stadiums and racetracks. And they were locked inside there and they couldn't leave for the duration of the war. Because they were deemed as a danger. They were deemed as a threat to national security. They were never charged with any crime. They were never accused of being disloyal. They were never charged with treason. But yet they were still rounded up and placed in these internment camps, because that's what they were. But they called them relocation centers. They lost their businesses. They lost their homes. They lost their property because they were given 48 hours. Turn yourself in. You got 48 hours. Turn yourself in, or we're going to catch you and we're going to put you in jail. that happened to 70,000 Japanese Americans. They were citizens of the United States. Am I standing up here trying to give you a history lesson? No. I'm trying to help us understand what the reality of the situation is. That wasn't that long ago. So to sit here thinking that I'm good, I have my plush job, I got my citizenship, just took the test the other day, I got myself sworn in, I just got my blue passport in the mail, right? I'm good now. No, everything's not all good. Because if they deserve what they're getting and what's happening over there, it can happen here. Because it has happened. So I'm advising myself. We have to wake up. We have to see reality of where we live, what's going on around us. Pay attention. This deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to us, we have to take it seriously. Now, I'm not defending the actions of anyone. Anyone who has disobeyed Allah, Allah is going to deal with them. Whether it's myself, whether it's you, whether it's the Palestinians, whether whoever it is. Whoever disobeys Allah, Allah is going to deal with them in a way that Allah deems fit to deal with them. And when He deals with them, it will be just. So I'm not defending anyone for their actions. But what I am blaming us for, or blaming some of us for, is this attitude as though we're high, we're mighty, we are above, we are better. That's arrogance. And that is disobedience. And arrogance is what has led Shaitan to where he is in the situation that he's in right now. So I advise myself and I advise us all, we need to beware. Because if we're going to claim that they're getting what they're getting because they deserve it, then we deserve it too. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us. Ask Allah ta'ala to bring all of the Muslims all over the world out of states of oppression and hunger and fear. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our families. Ask Allah ta'ala to increase us in Iman. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He forgives us of our shortcomings and our mistakes. Ask Allah to overlook our faults, to pardon us of our sins. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our efforts and our good deeds and our strives and our attempts to do good work. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish us firmly on faith. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish us firmly on the Kitab and the Sunnah. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects us from the trials and tribulations and punishments of this life and the punishments of the next life. And ask Allah the Most High to enter us all into Jannah. Aqimus salah. Yarhamakumullah.